second. Okay, I think we're ready. Hello everyone, this is the 5th Epical Revelation Fellowship. I'm Reverend Dr. Roger Paul. Today is August 25th, 2013. This afternoon we're going to start on paper 120 of the Urantia book. We might actually get through this paper today. It's a short one. Let's say a little prayer and we get started. Linda, why don't you say a little prayer for us? Okay.
Our Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for all these people here. We ask you to open our hearts and our minds to help us understand what you would say to each of us. We ask that you allow these teachings to penetrate our minds and our hearts and affect our lives and lead us to serve one another in such a way that it's your will, Father. We dedicate this time to you. We give you all the glory and the honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, the Urantia book, paper 120. This is the bestowals of Michael on Urantia. And this is the basically the charges Michael got before he went on his bestowal. We're going to go through them all here. Would you start out on this one first?
The bestowal of Michael on Urantia. Assigned by Gabriel to supervise the reinstatement of the life of Michael when on Urantia and in the likeness of mortal flesh, I, the Melchizedek director of the Revelatory Commission, entrusted with this task, am authorized to present this narrative of certain events which immediately preceded the Creator Son's arrival on Urantia, to embark upon the terminal phase of his universe bestowal experience, to live such identical lives as he imposes upon the intelligent beings of his own creation, thus to bestow himself in the likeness of his various orders of created beings, is a part of the price which every Creator Son must pay for the full and supreme sovereignty of the self-made universe of things and beings.
Okay, so what we have here is what? This is the Melchizedek director of the, basically, the Revelatory Commission, right? So this is the Melchizedek that was in charge of this revelation, right? Okay.
It's Mantusha.
Huh? Mantusha Melchizedek, right? Okay. So basically, he is the what we would call the head honcho, okay, of this. And they're going to give us the charges, basically, that they gave Michael before he went on his bestowal. Okay? So that's what this paper's all about. Okay? And this is him relating what was going on. So let's get into this and see what they had to say. Okay? First of all, the next slide I have to show y'all is kind of an interesting slide. If I can, I guess I better turn it on. Okay. A couple things I wanted to go over. Okay, this is a representation of Emmanuel, right? Union of Days and Michael of Salvington, right? And basically what this slide says is this. Let me read through this. Every local universe is, however, blessed with the presence of certain personalities from the central universe in paradise. At the head of this paradise group in Nebadon is the ambassador of the Paradise Trinity, Emmanuel, right? Of Salvington. The union of days assigned to the local universe of Nebadon, in certain sense, this high Trinity Son, is also the personal representative of the Universal Father to the court of the Creator Son. So that's Emmanuel's job, isn't it? Okay? Hence his name, Emmanuel. Emmanuel of Salvington is number 611, 121st of the 6th order of Supreme Trinity personalities, is the only personality in all Nebadon who has never acknowledged subordination to his brethren Michael. He functions as an advisor to the Sovereign Son, but gives counsel only on request. Now see, he's 611,121. What was Jesus' number? 611,121, wasn't it? So he was created just prior to Michael, wasn't he? Because he's his elder brother. Okay? So these were all created at the same time. What's our local universe mother spirit's number? 611,121, right? They're all a matching pair, right? In Trinity. So this is Emmanuel, the Union of Days, who is the representative of God, the Trinity, right? In our universe. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. You want to take that one, Don?
Before the events I'm about to delineate, Michael of Nebdon had bestowed himself 6 times after the similitude of 6 differing orders of his diverse creation of intelligent beings. Then he prepared to descend upon Urantia in the likeness of mortal flesh, the lowest order of his intelligent will creatures, and as such a human of the material realm, to execute the final act in the drama of the acquirement of universe sovereignty in accordance with the mandates of the divine paradise rulers of the universe of universes.
So all Paradise Sons does this, don't they? All 700,000, right? So they all have to earn what? Their sovereignty. Okay? So this bestowal of himself on earth is the same thing that what? 699,999 other Creator Sons have to go through also to be sovereign of their universe. Okay? So this is nothing new to the Creator Sons. It's part of the plan on Sonarrington of the Creator Sons, right? Okay. So let's keep going. It's going to be tricky to keep up with this today. Linda, you want to? Rodney, are you back yet? I don't know. I think we lost you.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Okay. You want to take the next one?
I just assumed, never mind. I just got back.
Oh, okay.
Good timing.
You need a minute? Want me to skip over you this time, or
Pardon me?
you want me to skip you this time? Come back to you?
Yeah, maybe, because I got to open up the book yet.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Linda. Take the next one.
In the course of each of these preceding bestowals, Michael not only acquired the finite experience of one group of his created beings, but he also acquired an essential experience in paradise cooperation, which would, in and of itself, further contribute to constituting him the sovereign of his self-made universe. At any moment throughout all past local universe time, Michael could have asserted personal sovereignty as a Creator Son, and as a Creator Son could have ruled his universe after the manner of his own choosing. In such an event, Emmanuel and the associated Paradise Sons would have taken leave of the universe. But Michael did not wish to rule Nebadon merely in his own isolated right as a Creator Son. He desired to ascend through actual experience in cooperative subordination to the Paradise Trinity, to that high place in universe status where he would become qualified to rule his universe and administer its affairs with that perfection of insight and wisdom of execution which will sometime be characteristic of the exalted rule of the Supreme Being. He aspired not to perfection of rule as a Creator Son, but to supremacy of administration as the embodiment of the universe wisdom and the divine experience of the Supreme Being.
So what are they telling us? They're telling us that Michael could have claimed right to his universe any time, couldn't he? And he could rule his universe as he saw fit. If he did that, Emmanuel would take leave of the universe, wouldn't he? Because what did they do if they do that? If he did that, he would have stepped out of the will of God, wouldn't he? He would chose to run his universe the way he wanted to, and not in accordance with the experience of the Supreme Being. Right? So, he chose to do it like all other Creator Sons do. There's a benefit in doing the will of God, isn't there? There always is. So that's what he chose to do. And you'll notice here, it says that he could have ruled his realm in the manner of his own choosing. See that? Okay? But he desired to ascend through actual experience in cooperation with the subordination of the Paradise Trinity to that high place in universe status where he would have become qualified, see this here, to rule his universe and administer the affairs with perfection of wisdom and insight. Now, Why would he want to do that? Because it adds to his experience, doesn't it? And by adding to his experience, it adds to the rule of the supreme. See this here? Now, why is that important? Because Michael wants to be part of the fruition of the supreme. Do you see that? That's why it is so important for him to do the will of the Father to increase the experience of the supreme. The other thing is, he does it as the embodiment, you see this right here, of the universe wisdom and the divine experience of the supreme being. So he is basically bowing down his will not only to the Father, but he's bowing down his will to what? The supreme being. As what? The coming God of the 7 super universes. Now, why would he do this? He would do this because by doing that, he falls in line with the other 700,000 creator sons, right? Or 699,000 creator sons. And in doing that, it prepares him as a master son to be able to go out in the outer space levels and become part of the supreme, turning into what? The almighty supreme in the 7 outside in the 4 outer space levels. That is why this is so important.
You know what? Go ahead, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say that, you know, it seems like for him and then also for all of us, the moment you stop doing the will of God, you've just put boundaries around yourself. You've just put limitations on where you can go. If he could have stopped right there and ruled his own universe, but he chose to continue to go on and do the will of the Father so he could move on to bigger and better and greater things.
Now, if we did those same things, it would in essence be the same event that Emmanuel would remove himself from us, wouldn't he?
That is really interesting, Roger.
He would.
That's very interesting.
Because Emmanuel, the Father, would want to remove his representation to us because we are no longer in the will of God.
Right.
We're no longer within the boundaries of the 7 super. We're no longer within the magistry of the supreme being, are we? We don't associate ourselves with the administration of the universe. What would they call this if it wasn't like
Subordination.
rebellion?
Rebellion.
Insubordination or rebellion, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Exactly. So you see the importance of this and how the supreme being becomes so important in this incarnation. Okay? Okay, don't want y'all to miss that.
So he would have been just like Lucifer. Okay,
That's right.
now I'm the sovereign and I'm going to do my own thing now.
There you go. Okay, so here we go. Deary, would you take this one?
Michael therefore had a double purpose in the making of these 7 bestowals upon the various orders of his universe creatures. First, he was completing the required experience in creature understanding, which is demanded of all creator sons before they assume complete sovereignty. At any time, a creator son may rule his universe in his own right, but he can rule as a supreme representative of the Paradise Trinity only after passing through the 7 universe creature bestowals. Second, he was aspiring to the privilege of representing the maximum authority of the Paradise Trinity, which can be exercised in the direct and personal administration of a local universe. Accordingly, did Michael, during the experience of each of his universe bestowals, successfully and acceptably voluntarily subordinate himself to the various constituted wills of the diverse associations of the persons of the Paradise Trinity. That is, on the first bestowal, he was subject to the combined will of the Father, Son, and Spirit. On the second bestowal, to the will of the Father and the Son. On the third bestowal, to the will of the Father and the Spirit. On the fourth bestowal, to the will of the Son and the Spirit. On the fifth bestowal, to the will of the Infinite Spirit. On the sixth bestowal, to the will of the Eternal Son. And during the 7th and final bestowal on Urantia, to the will of the Universal Father.
Okay, so there was a purpose in the 7th bestowals, weren't there? From the very beginning, starting 1 billion years ago, okay? And it's required of every single creator son. No exception, is there? Now, they don't have to go through this, do they? They can rule the universe in their own right because they were given that privilege, okay? But if they want to do that under the association of the Trinity and under the association of the Supreme, they have to go through these 7 bestowals, don't they? And every single one of them choose to do that. Not a single one of them has failed.
We'd be in tremendous jeopardy.
They have, that's right. So, he also wants to rule with the privilege of, it says, representing the maximum authority of the Paradise Trinity. So by doing this, when he finished, he not only rules in his own right, but he rules under the authority of the Trinity, right? Through what? The Supreme Being. Okay? Now, let's go one more slide here, and I'll put this little slide together for y'all to look at. And all this will be out there on the website in the next couple days. This is a chart of the bestowals of the will of deity. And the reason I call it the will of deity because it's the will of the Trinity. All right? So when Michael did his first bestowal as Melchizedek, he did it with his will subject to the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. You see that? And that's what these lines are going down to. The Father, Son, and Spirit.
What slide number is that?
It's 7.
7.
It's 7, Rodney, but you wouldn't have it unless you downloaded it
Right.
this week.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, that's okay, because I just put it out there this morning.
All right.
Okay? I had this epiphany at midnight, or night before last at midnight, and got up 1 o'clock in the morning and started
Been there,
on.
done that.
Did the next morning. God talks to me sometimes in my sleep. I get up and do things like this. Okay? All right. His second bestowal as a Lenonendek son, he was subject to the will of the Father and the Son. You see that? The third bestowal as a material son, he was subject to the will of the Father and the Spirit. Okay? The fourth, as a seraphim, he was subject to the will of the Son and the Spirit. The fifth bestowal, as an ascending mortal, he was subject to the will of the infinite Spirit. The sixth bestowal, the Urantia mortal, he was subject to the will of the eternal Son. And the seventh, as a mortal in the flesh, which he was here on earth, he was subject to the will of only the universal Father. You see that?
So every possible combination.
Every possible combination of the Trinity. All right? So what does that equal? That's the sevenfold will of the Trinity. Right? Okay? And that's what they talk about here. All right, let's keep going. Who just read? Huh? Dawn, you want to take the next one?
Michael therefore combines in his personal sovereignty the divine will of the sevenfold phases of the universal creators with the understanding experience of his local universe creatures. Thus has his administration become representative of the greatest possible power and authority, although divested of all arbitrary assumptions. His power is unlimited since it is derived from the experience association with the paradise deities. His authority is unquestioned inasmuch as it was acquired through actual experience in the likeness of universe creatures. His sovereignty is supreme since it embodies at one and at the same time the sevenfold viewpoint of paradise deity with the creature viewpoint of time and space.
So think about this. Michael combines the natural given authority he was given as a paradise son, right? To create his universe, right? And run his universe as well. But he also has the experiential authority through the Supreme, right? That he attained through experiencing every type of being that he created. So he not only rules as a father figure to us, just like God the Father is to us. He's our local universe father, isn't he? But he also has the experience of a being just like us. So he not only has the heavenly or paradise concepts of authority, he has the finite all the way up to the maximum creation that he created concept of living and experiencing and doing just like we do. So do you think he's qualified to rule us? I think he is. You know, he's been there. He's done that. He knows what it's about. So when we stand before Michael on Sanarrington, don't you think that not Sanarrington, Salvington, don't you think he has the right to rule us? I would say so, as creator and brother, right? Okay. Let's keep going. Excellent. Rodney, you want to take the next one?
Oh, well, I don't think we're reading from the book, right?
Yeah.
Oh, where are we then? I've been trying to figure it out.
120, paragraph 6.
Wait, what page?
Oh, 1324, paragraph 3.
1324. Oh,
Uh-oh.
okay. Paragraph 3.
Yeah, having determined.
Having determined.
Having determined the time.
Let me see if Bill wants to join us. He just came online. Oops. Well, that didn't work. Go ahead, Rodney.
All right.
Bill, are you out there? I don't know if he is or not. Okay, go ahead, Rodney. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Having determined the time of this final bestowal, and having selected the planet whereon this extraordinary event will take place, Michael held the usual pre-bestowal conference with Gabriel, and then presented himself before his elder brother and paradise counselor, Emmanuel. All powers of universe administration, which had not previously been conferred on Gabriel, Michael now assigned to the custody of Emmanuel. And just before Michael's departure for the Urantia incarnation, Emmanuel, in accepting the custody of the universe during the time of the Urantia bestowal, proceeded to impart the bestowal council, which would serve as the incarnation guide for Michael when he would presently grow up on Urantia as a mortal of the realm.
Okay, so he basically turns everything over to Emmanuel, right? To be in charge in his stead. And anything that Emmanuel's not in charge of, Gabriel is to take over, right? So he's turned over the reins of our local universe to his elder brother Emmanuel, which is the what? The Paradise Trinity representative. Okay? All right. Linda, would you take the next one, please?
In this connection, it should be borne in mind that Michael had elected to execute this bestowal in the likeness of mortal flesh, subject to the will of the Paradise Father. The Creator Son required instructions from no one in order to effect this incarnation for the sole purpose of achieving universe sovereignty, but he had embarked upon a program of the revelation of the Supreme, which involved cooperative functioning with the diverse wills of the Paradise deities. Thus, his sovereignty, when finally and personally acquired, would actually be all-inclusive of the sevenfold will of deity as it culminates in the Supreme. He had, therefore, 6 times previously been instructed by the personal representatives of the various Paradise deities and associations thereof, and now he was instructed by the Union of Days, ambassador of the Paradise Trinity to the local universe of Nebadon, acting on behalf of the Universal Father.
Okay, so he didn't need any instruction to do this, did he? But he had decided to follow the will of God and the Supreme in cooperation with the Supreme, didn't he? Okay, and in doing so, he allowed himself to be influenced or to follow the will of all forms of the Paradise Trinity. You see that? Do you see the connection of the Supreme to the Trinity here? The Supreme is necessary because it's the experiential part of God the Father, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme is necessary for this communication of experience from the Trinity through the Supreme down to the local universe, and vice versa. Michael has to relay his will of following these instructions through what? The Supreme to the Paradise Trinity. You see the connection there? So that's the importance of the Supreme's involvement here. Do you see this where it says right here, the program of the relation of the Supreme which involve cooperative functioning within the diverse wills of the Paradise deities. You see that right there? The revelation of the Supreme. Okay? So this whole thing in part is part of the experience of the Supreme. And that's why we're going to find out later on during the life of Christ, he mentions the Supreme several times. And doing the will of the Supreme, right? And the experience of the Supreme. This all starts to come together. All right?
There were immediate advantages and tremendous compensations resulting from the willingness of the mighty Creator Son, once more voluntarily to subordinate himself to the will of the Paradise deities, this time to that of the Universal Father. By this decision to effect such associative subordination, Michael would experience in this carnation not only the nature of mortal man, but also the will of the Paradise Father of all. And further, he could enter upon the unique bestowal with the complete assurance, not only that Emmanuel would exercise the full authority of the Paradise Father in the administration of his universe during his absence on the Urantia Bestowal, but also with the comforting knowledge that the Ancient of Days of the super-universe had decreed the safety of his realm throughout the entire bestowal period.
Okay, this is going to become really important. Oops. This safety of his realm during the bestowal period. You see that there? Okay. He not only subjected his will to the Supreme and the will of what? The Universal Father. Okay? It's a revelation of the Father to us, isn't it? Okay? But he's also knows that the Ancients of Days of the universe has agreed to safety of his realm. We're going to see that in just next paragraph, I believe it is. Which is kind of amazing because we were in the middle of a rebellion when this took place, weren't we? Okay. That's the next couple of paragraphs. You want to take the next one, Don?
And this was the setting of the momentous occasion when Emmanuel presented the seventh bestowal commission. And from this pre-bestowal charge of Emmanuel to the universe ruler, who subsequently became Jesus of Nazareth, Christ Michael, on Urantia, I am permitted to present the following excerpts.
Okay. Just keep going. Rodney, you want to take that one?
There was a seventh bestowal commission. My Creator Brother, I am about to witness your seventh and final universe bestowal. Most faithfully and perfectly have you executed the 6 previous commissions, and I entertain no thought but that you will be equally triumphant on this, your terminal sovereignty bestowal. Heretofore, you have appeared on your bestowal spheres as a fully developed being of the order of your choosing. Now you are about to appear upon Urantia, the disordered and disturbed planet of your choice, not as a fully developed mortal, but as a helpless babe. This, my comrade, will be a new and untried experience for you. You are about to pay the full price of the stole and to experience the complete enlightenment of the incarnation of a creator in the likeness of a creature.
So Emmanuel had seen him through all 6 of these bestowals, hadn't he? And so he's saying he feels like he's going to make it. He has full confidence in him, right? But he says this is different because he's not been incarnated as a helpless infant before.
On a distorted and disturbed
On a disordered and disturbed planet. So he knows the importance of this, doesn't he? So he knows the difficulty about what he's about to do. Full well, right? Linda, you want to take the next one?
Throughout each of your former bestowals, you have voluntarily chosen to subject yourself to the will of the three paradise deities and their divine interassociations. Of the 7 phases of the will of the Supreme, you have, in your previous bestowals, been subject to all but the personal will of your Paradise Father. Now that you have elected to be wholly subject to your Father's will throughout your 7th bestowal, I, as the personal representative of your Father, assume the unqualified jurisdiction of your universe for the time of your incarnation.
One thing I want to point out on this is this right here. Of the 7 phases of the will of the Supreme. Did you see that? That means the will of the Trinity is within the Supreme, isn't it? Okay, the 7 phases of the will of the Paradise Trinity comes through the Supreme. We see another point where the Supreme is so important, right?
Supreme.
Supremely, right? That's right.
In entering upon the Urantia bestowal, you have voluntarily divested yourself of all extraplanetary support and special assistance such as might be rendered by any creature of your own creation. As your created son of Nebadon are wholly dependent upon you for safe conduct throughout the universe careers, so now must you become wholly and unreservedly dependent upon your Father, your Paradise Father, for safe conduct throughout the unrevealed vicissitudes of your ensuing mortal career. And when you shall have finished this bestowal experience, you will know in very truth the full meaning and the rich significance of that faith trust which you so unvaryingly require all your creatures to master, as a part of their intimate relationship with you, as their local universe creator and father.
Okay, so what are they talking about here? The experience that we have having faith in Christ and our in transporting us through the universe, right? He must have in what?
Paradise Father.
In the Paradise Father. So he depends on the Paradise Father just as we do as we go through this trek, right? We depend on him. He has to depend on the Father just like we do. So he's going through the same experience we are, isn't he?
And we're having to do the same thing as saying it's my will, that's your will. The Father's
Right.
will.
The Father's will be done. That's right. That's why he kept pointing to the Father throughout this entire bestowal, right?
You know, and you think about it, from the time that he was born, Lucifer's minions were after him. Herod tried to kill him.
Every minute.
That's right.
Every minute.
Herod wanted to have him murdered, and he did in fact have a bunch of little babies murdered.
That's right.
So he could get rid of him.
So he'd get rid of him, right? Stop the bestowal, right? Don, you-
Throughout your Urantia bestowal, you need to be concerned with but one thing: the unbroken communion between you and your Paradise Father. And it will be by the perfection of such a relationship that the world of your bestowal, even all the universe of your creation, will behold a new and more understandable revelation of your Father and my Father, the universal Father of all. Your concern, therefore, has only to do with your personal life on Urantia. I will be fully and efficiently responsible for the security and unbroken administration of your universe from the moment of your voluntary relinquishment of authority until you return to us as universe sovereign, confirmed by Paradise, and receive back from my hands not the vicegerent authority which you now surrender to me, but instead the supreme power over and jurisdiction of your universe.
2 things in this. First, your Urantia bestowal, you should be concerned with one thing: the unbroken communion between you and your Paradise Father, right? What are we supposed to do?
Same thing.
Same thing. The unbroken communion between us and our Paradise Father. That's what we're to do. Okay? And when he comes back, what does he have? He's not, right before he went, he was the vicegerent authority over this universe, wasn't he? But when he comes back, he has the supreme power over and jurisdiction over your universe. He's the undisputable God of our universe. Got that? No question. Okay. All right. This is an interesting part next. Rodney, would you take the next one?
And that you may know with assurance that I am empowered to do all that I am now promising, knowing full well that I am the assurance of all paradise for the faithful performance of thy word. I announce to you that there has just been communicated to me a mandate of the Ancients of Days on Uversa, which will prevent all spiritual jeopardy in Nebadon throughout the period of your voluntary bestowal. From the moment you surrendered consciousness upon the beginning of the mortal incarnation until you return to us as supreme and unconditional sovereign of this universe, of your own creation and organization, nothing of serious import can happen in all Nebadon. In this interim of your incarnation, I hold the orders of the Ancients of Days, which unqualifiedly mandate the instantaneous and automatic extinction of any being guilty of rebellion or presuming to instigate insurrection in the universe of Nebadon while you are absent from this bestowal. My brother, in view of the authority of paradise inherent in my presence and augmented by the judicial mandate of Uversa, your universe and all its loyal creatures will be secure during your bestowal. You may proceed upon your mission with but a single thought: the enhanced revelation of our Father to the intelligent beings of your own universe.
Okay, so Emmanuel has the power from paradise. He has the power from where? The Ancients of Days, for immediate annihilation of any being going into rebellion during the period of the bestowal, right?
But not the ones that already went into rebellion.
But not the ones that already went into rebellion. Also, you notice here it says, where is it? All your beings, oh gosh, I wanted to point this out.
Prevent all spiritual jeopardy in Nebadon.
No.
All its loyal creatures will be secured during
All the loyal
bestowal.
creatures, that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
All the loyal creatures will be secured, right? Does that mean the unloyal creatures were secured? No. Why are they not secure? Because they have chose rebellion over the will of God, isn't it?
They're already there, and there's always that
They were
possibility.
already there, and that's a possibility. So were they annihilated? No. They had already made a choice of rebellion, had they not? Or what? They were unloyal. Okay? So those were not secure. But even those were not to instigate what? A new rebellion, right? Because he had the authority, under the authority of the Ancients of Days, for immediate annihilation of those beings.
What a careful
Roger?
balance that is.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that even before this, there wasn't, like with Lucifer, why he wasn't immediately annihilated. It almost sounds unfair that another rebellion during this period would be immediate annihilation without going through the procedure of being on trial.
No, that would not be the case, Rodney, because they would be taking advantage of a governmental situation of the universe. You see what I'm saying?
Whereas
In other words, they would be going into full knowledge and full-blown rebellion immediately, so they would be immediately dealt with at that point, because the authorized leader of that local universe, which was Michael, right, was not there to defend himself. So the rest of the universe is in charge of defending him for him, right? Because when he goes into this bestowal, he's stripped of all possibility of knowing who he was to start out with, right? He has to relearn that along the period of the rebellion. And what happened at his baptism, he came into full knowledge of his mission, right? So, you know, it's pretty important. This is important stuff. Okay. Linda, you want to take the next one?
As in each of your previous bestowals, I would remind you that I am recipient of your universe jurisdiction as brother trustee. I exercise all authority and wield all power in your name. I function as would our Paradise Father, and in accordance with your explicit request that I thus act in your stead. And such being the fact, all this delegated authority is yours again to exercise at any moment you may see fit to requisition its return. Your bestowal is, throughout, wholly voluntary. As a mortal incarnate in the realm, you are without celestial endowments, but all your relinquished power may be had at any time you may choose to reinvest yourself with universe authority. If you should choose to reinstate yourself in power and authority, remember it will be wholly for personal reasons, since I am the living and supreme pledge whose presence and promise guarantee the safe administration of your universe in accordance with your Father's will. Rebellion, such as has 3 times occurred in Nebadon, cannot occur during your absence from Salvington on this bestowal. For the period of the Urantia bestowal, the Ancients of Days have decreed that rebellion in Nebadon shall be invested with the automatic seed of its own annihilation.
Okay, so he's basically telling you, you can go without worrying about a thing, right? All you have to do is concentrate on your bestowal. I will make sure that this universe is safe during your absence, right? The other thing is this. It says here that he is not, he does not have his celestial endowments. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he does not have his normal creator abilities, does he? But he can pull these back at any time. Now there's certain abilities that he will have, he cannot separate himself from, right? And many of the miracles that have was because of this endowment of being a creator son, right? He could not stop it. So he can't stop being who he is, but he will not have all his abilities as a celestial being. He will be immortal, okay? Not just like any other mortal. Okay, let's keep going.
As long as you are absent on this final and extraordinary bestowal, I pledge Gabriel's cooperation, the faithful administration of your universe. And as I commission you to undertake this ministry of divine revelation and to undergo this experience of perfected human understanding, I act on behalf of my Father and your Father, and offer you the following counsel, which should guide you in the living of your earth life, as you become progressively self-conscious regarding the divine mission of your continued sojourn in the flesh.
You notice here how Gabriel's more and more involved in these?
Mm-hmm.
He actually followed him through this bestowal, the whole bestowal. So he experienced it with him, didn't he? Okay.
Just enormous trust in not only Gabriel and Emmanuel and the Father, the 3 of them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Perfect faith.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Donna?
Number 2, the bestowal limitations. In accordance with the usages and in conformity with the technique of St. Arrington, in compliance with the mandates of the Eternal Son of Paradise, I have provided in every way for your immediate entrance upon this mortal bestowal, in harmony with the plans formulated by you and placed in my keeping by Gabriel. You will grow up on Urantia as a child in the realm, complete your human education, all the while subject to the will of your Paradise Father. Live your life on Urantia as you have determined, terminate your planetary sojourn, and prepare for ascension to your Father to receive from him the supreme sovereignty of your universe.
Okay, does it say anywhere in this first paragraph that he had to be crucified?
No.
No.
Or murdered.
Or murdered, right? Nowhere does it say that, right?
Or
So-
that we have
so
to
it was
pay
not
for our
known.
sins.
What was that? Rodney?
So, there was no pre-knowledge of that.
Pre-knowledge, I don't know. I can't tell you that. But it was not a requirement. That's the whole point of the
Exactly.
bestowal. The bestowal requirement is that he lived a full life, right, as a human.
Right.
And got educated.
And got educated and lived just like every other being, right? Past the baptism was his personal choice. Do y'all see that?
But had it not been the Father's will, he wouldn't have done it, correct?
That's right. It all was in the Father's will,
Right.
right? Within the Father's
Right.
will.
Because
Okay.
without that, we wouldn't have the resurrection that's been so beneficial to so many people. It's such a
Yeah, we
compliment.
would have. We still would have had the resurrection. If he would have died a normal death, he
Right.
was still resurrected himself just like he did.
It's just that
But
if
it
he
wouldn't-
died in his
but-
sleep, people would have been less
Exactly,
believing.
yeah.
There you go.
That there
more
was something
emphasis on
special.
Right.
Because they saw him die.
Think of
And that's what I mean, because it wouldn't have
Yeah.
been as obvious.
dramatic.
That's right.
That's what I really meant.
Yeah, think about the way he died and what happened going up to the crucifixion. This is the most dramatic event that ever happened in history, if you think about it. Because a Son of God was crucified on a cross. He did this of his own free will. He was buried as far as they're concerned. And he rose himself from the dead. Who ever did that before? Nobody. You know? No documentation of that ever happened. And this is the only event during that period of history that that ever happened. Okay? And the proof that he was the Creator's Son was what? The resurrection. He brought himself back. The celestial beings didn't bring him back, did they? He brought himself back from the dead. That's what a Creator's Son is capable of doing. Okay? But you got to remember, anything past the baptism was the personal choice of the Creator's Son, because upon the baptism, he would have what? He would have fused with his adjuster if he was human, right? His life was over as far as the universe was concerned, right?
His mission was
His
accomplished.
mission was accomplished. Exactly. And so all the 3 years that he stuck around and did his mission and preached and taught, even up to meeting the apostles, all that came after he finished his bestowal. Think about that. He did it of his own free will. What a wonderful... How can you not love Jesus? I mean, you know, for living the life he did.
It's interesting too, because in the Bible, all that part of his life since he was 12 years old wasn't revealed in the Bible.
None of it was.
No.
Yeah.
Just the crucifixion. So if that hadn't taken place,
I know.
that was the history that we had from the Bible.
Yeah.
So that sustained all of us long enough before we received
That's right.
the revelation.
That's right. Okay, let's keep going. We got a few more minutes here. We'll get a little bit further. Anyway. I was hoping to get through this paper, but I don't think we will. Okay, the bestowal limitations.
Rodney.
Rodney? Rodney. This is a long one. So he keeps getting the long ones today.
Number 2, apart from your earth mission and your universe revelation, but incidental to both, I counsel that you assume, after you are sufficiently self-conscious of your divine identity, the additional task of technically terminating the Lucifer rebellion in the system of Satania, and that you do all this as the Son of Man. Thus, as a mortal creature of the realm, in weakness, made powerful by faith's submission to the will of your Father, I suggest that you graciously achieve all you have repeatedly declined arbitrarily to accomplish by power and might when you were so endowed at the time of the inception of this sinful and unjustified rebellion. I would regard it as a fitting climax of your moral bestowal of your Creator prerogatives, now it would be fitting that you should, in the likeness of the lowest creatures of your creation, wrest dominion from the hands of these fallen sons. And so would your whole local universe, in all fairness, clearly and forever recognize the justice of your doing in the wrong of mortal flesh those things which mercy admonished you not to do by the power of arbitrary authority. And having thus by your bestowal established the possibility of the sovereignty of the Supreme in Nebadon, you will in effect have brought to a close the
Adjudicated
affairs of all preceding insurrections, notwithstanding the greater or lesser time lag involved in the realization of this achievement. By this act, the pending dissensions of your universe will be in substance liquidated, and with the subsequent endowment of the supreme sovereignty over your universe, similar challenges to your authority can never reoccur in any part of your great personal creation.
Did y'all catch that? Can never reoccur in any part of your creation. So once this rebellion is completely adjudicated and settled, will we ever have rebellion in our local universe? Never again.
So,
Never. Okay, let's go through a couple things. We got a couple minutes here. Notice here it says, assume after you have sufficiently self-conscious of your divine identity. That tells us that he wasn't immediately aware of his divinity, did he? He had to grow into it, right? And he recommends that as the Son of Man, he adjudicates what? The rebellion on his planet, right? So he, what? He meets the blasphemous Calagasta and Lucifer in his humble estate. All right, another thing, having shameful misrepresentations of the fallen children of light. What are they talking about, the children of light? This is not light like these lights here, are they?
No.
It's not what? It's not intelligence. It's not awareness, is it? It's spiritual light, okay? So this children of light basically is a level of celestial being. Do you see that? Okay, the children of light. All right? It's got nothing to do with physical illumination, right?
As opposed to the children of darkness.
As opposed to the children of darkness. That's right. Okay? It would be fitting that you should, in the likeness of the lowest creatures of creation, wrestle dominion from these fallen sons. You see that?
So they had dominion.
So they had dominion. That's right. He had assigned them dominion, right? Think of it. Lucifer was what? A system sovereign, right? Multiple planets. Huh? Satanium. That's right. That's right. Okay. And by doing this, he basically subsequently endowment of the supreme sovereignty of your universe. There comes the supreme again, doesn't it? Okay? He has the supreme sovereignty. The supreme being has the sovereignty of the universe, right? He handles the supreme sovereignty of what? The local universe of Nebadon. The supreme handles the sovereignty of what? The entire universe, right? 7 super universes. Okay? And I'm going to have to quit there because we're out of time. We'll take it up from here next time, 22:23. Let's say a little prayer, and we'll do this again next week at the same spot, same station. Rodney, would you like to say a prayer for us and end us tonight?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity that we have to come together again, even if it is by Skype. We pray for the the health of our families as well as our nation. And we pray that you help our unfaithfulness. And we pray in all things that your will be done. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Let me stop the recordings, and we'll see you next week.
So, ended all rebellion